So when is a handshake more than just a handshake? When it's there to signify an allegiance to a secret society. When it's there as a symbol to let other members know that you're with them. All through the ages, secret societies have used secret gestures and signs to allow themselves to know one another, to let you know just who's in this pack. So when is a wave more than just a wave? When it's meant to signify something to those in the know, those who belong to the secret societies. Now most of you think these are guys that just dress up in silly outfits and ride around in little scooters. They may seem innocuous enough, but Tex Mars has compiled all the information to let us know the secret hidden codes of the Illuminati and to show us that it's not all fun and games. Well, welcome, Tex.
Well, thank you very much, Freeman. It's great to be with you.
It is great, yeah.
And I know you're having a great impact in this area. In fact, on the internet and so forth, all throughout America, people are beginning to talk about the Freeman perspective, so I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, 1,000 pictures is worth what?
A magnitude. And I do have over 1,000 pictures in my new book, Codex Magica. Many of them are incredible pictures from ancient manuals and textbooks of the occult, going all the way back to pagan mystery Babylon. But of course, we have the incredible numbers of politicians, financiers, bankers, entertainers, probably the elite of this world who we have, well, let's just face it, Freeman, we have caught them in what is basically an occult ritual, and it's sort of a we're in your face type of thing.
Absolutely.
They're taunting the American public and saying we can carry on occult rituals right before your eyes, and they're saying you, the public, are so stupid and so ignorant you won't even know what we're doing. And that's why I'm glad we're going to inform some people, and they're going to discover what is going on before their very eyes, and we're going to expose, let's just put it in an old Texas term, these rascals.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have gathered together a few hundred images here for us to look at and talk about.
Well, great.
And,
great.
I opened it here with them giving a sign and the salute, because you opened your book with the salute in your military career.
Well, Freeman, you know, there's certainly nothing wrong with a military salute, and as an Air Force officer myself, thousands of times I saluted, and it's a sign of a greeting. It's a sign of, well, it's in a sense, it's a sign of superiority, officer over enlisted too, and of camaraderie. But I also noticed this, that there are many people who make the salute in a different way. You know, some very crisp and military-oriented, and some sort of lackadaisical. But you know, when a salute is a salute, regardless of, you know, this or that, or, you know, the various forms of it. And so in this book, I tried not to be dogmatic. I understand that in the process of talking and interacting in daily life, that our hands may end up in funny places. And so I don't want to stretch facts, but what we're going to see, I know, in this series of slides and images, we're going to see hand signs quite often that are improbable. They're not by accident. They're designed on purpose. They are a form of occultic or satanic art. And you know, it's interesting. Marshall McLuhan, the famous Canadian who wrote about the media and how the media was able to brainwash people, he said something I thought was interesting. In one sentence, he stated, "The police state is now a work of art."
Absolutely.
And I think that's a fascinating thing. Are we going into a police state? And you're showing some things here, the Nazis and others. We see various hand salutes. There's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Surely he's not giving the Nazi salute, is he, Freeman?
Well, he loves the Nazis, and his father was SS, and
yes.
he wants to be dictator of the world.
He did say it.
The only difference that I see between Hitler giving his salute and Ashcroft and Bush and Billy Graham is that they're smiling.
Well, yeah, and smile they should. After all, look at the success that they're able to. You take Graham, of course. In 1966, he was at the House of the Temple for the 33rd degree initiation ceremony. This was reported to me by Jim Shaw, who went on to renounce Freemasonry. He was initiated as a 33rd degree Mason. So Billy Graham is a high-level member of a secret society. This is how Billy Graham became famous. This is they make these people through PR. They own the media, and they're able to manufacture personalities.
Absolutely. I see this, and I see it over and over again, and we're going to cover so many of these people to see how they create these type of mindsets. That's really what it is. It's a mindset that people are being placed into. And so now we're seeing open Satanism around us all over the place.
That's what it is. It is a form of Satanism. Now, remember, people in many of the secret... Well, there's an example right there. Pat Robertson, you see that as a very irregular... People don't pose for a picture with their hand looking like a claw.
Right.
And, of course, this has to do with the one of the Masonic signs in which he's basically saying that if I divulge the secrets of the order, may my breast be torn out and put on top of a steeple and the vultures tear at it and all. So he has taken a hideous, just grotesque oath in his Freemasonry, and so this is the sign. Now, interesting, that very photo was placed on the cover of Time magazine when Pat Robertson of the 700 Club ran for president of the United States.
Wow.
As a sign to all those out there, I'm one of you, and ha ha ha, aren't we putting one over on the public? But you can see
we'll go to the next
the look on his face, and you see the claw. I call it the claw, but actually it's the fellowship or the fellowcraft degree of Freemasonry. Yeah, there it is. This is from an old Masonic manual, Freeman. As you can see, the drawing. In the book, we use Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry, Mackey's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. So many textbooks right from secret societies, Rosicrucian manuals,
right.
The Order, the OTO. So many of the occult secret societies, we use their own drawings and manuals. So you can't deny that Pat Robertson is giving that sign. It's right out of one of the secret society manuals. He is a member of that secret society.
Well, what about Joseph Smith? He was also a Freemason.
Yeah, Joseph Smith, of course, was founder of the Mormon Church. He was an occultist. And you see some of the members of the Mormon Church with their little Masonic-like aprons on in their various ceremonies, and they're giving the same hand signals and body gestures as you will find in the various Masonic orders, because Joseph Smith and the boys were all Masons. If you go back in history and you research the first Masonic temple, for example, in Novo, Illinois, you'll see all kind of Masonic sun signs, moon signs, because they worship these various astrological deities. And this was the early Mormon church. And, of course, much of it is now hidden underground by the LDS or Mormon church. But we did see some of the exact hand signals of the Mormons.
And now each of these signs are a penal sign, discussing that they, will cut their own throat, rip out their tongue, or cut out their bowels and hang it in there.
Exactly. And everything you said is absolutely true. Now I'm a Christian, and the Bible says that we're not to take oaths, especially these hideous oaths. And of course, it's interesting, all of the disciples and Jesus himself said that they did nothing in secret.
Right.
Everything they did was in the open. We as Americans should demand this of our leaders, that they do nothing in secret. Everything should be in the open in a free and democratic country.
Absolutely. But we're dealing with an order of death.
Yeah. We see this. This is probably in Germany, the Death's Head Corps of the Gestapo and so forth. And of course, the Death's Head has been barred by the Order of Skull and Bones as one of their symbols, as you know, with John Kerry being a member, right. Senator John Kerry, and George W. Bush, and his father as well. So here we have an occult brotherhood of death right here in America at Yale University. 15 young men, only the elite. I mean, if you or I went to Yale University, even if we could afford to get in, and we had the influence to get in, we're not going to be able to join. We're not going to be tapped, as they call it, for the Order of Skull and Bones, and live in the tomb next to a cemetery. That's where they live. They live adjacent to a cemetery for their senior year, and they're sort of outfitted and prepared for the world, and then they become the high-level executives. And that's why George W. Bush, when he ran for governor of the state of Texas, he had no opposition.
No.
The minute he chose to run, the Bush dynasty went into operation, and all the other people said, we don't want any part of that. We don't want to make the Bush dynasty mad at us. So these people have favored lives, you see.
And knowing this crew, I really believe that H.W. would have used some ritual and also psychological warfare on his own child to bring him up in a particular...
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure of that. Many of these people have all kinds of rituals and requirements. I believe that many of them in their mansions, and I have proof of this, have various satanic idols and even altars set up with black candles and worship Baphomet and other false gods. And it's so incredible because we see them, Bill Clinton, he takes his Bible in hand, he walks over to a Methodist church down the street from the White House when he was in office on Easter Sunday, right after, of course, he had sex with Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Office. He goes to church. But in fact, these people are members of the Bohemian Grove, the Order of Skull and Bones, and they do various hand signs, have various rituals, and they're not at all Christians. Not at all.
I'm close. See, I found this picture of Jesus giving a hand sign. There was an article about Jesus being a Freemason, and they...
Oh, is that right?
But we know, of course, that the Templars and the Masons have a large deal to do with building cathedrals.
They do, because there's such a thing as occult or sacred architecture.
Yes.
And I noticed on the intro to this program, a tremendous job you did showing some of the buildings, even in downtown Austin, with some various messages embedded in the very architecture.
Yes.
Of these buildings. So it's interesting, if Satan is prince of the power of the air, a demon, if you will, a devil, then is he not flying in the skies above, sometime looking down and saying, isn't it wonderful? The world is patterned after my design. And the Masons, of course, call themselves, they say they worship the grand architect of the universe. Yeah, here's the Pope. Notice the Pope John Paul II, Freeman, behind him is an upside-down cross.
Yes.
Well, isn't that what Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan had? Yeah. Upside-down crosses. Is that not a symbol? That's not a mistake. He has cardinals, he has advanced men, he has front men. They arrange the altars and the thrones and all these things. So he doesn't just go in there and they've made a mistake and they put the cross upside down by accident, you see.
Well, that takes us to their God. They are finally informed later on. Here we have the secret hand sign of Jabulon.
Oh, yes, now that's an interesting one. Remember Napoleon?
Yes.
I don't know if you have a picture of old Napoleon.
Sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. You put your hand like this.
There's George Washington.
Regrettably, George Washington was a member of this group. And I used to see Napoleon giving this sign, and I said, well, maybe there he is. And you see that in all the famous paintings of Napoleon. And Freeman, as a young boy, I said, well, maybe his hand was cold. Yeah. He's trying to, he should have had a better jacket than that. Look, it's too small for him. But in fact, of course, this is a Freemasonic sign. It's I call it the hidden hand of the god Jabulon. And that is the Masonic god. And it's a combined god of Jehovah and Baal, who is the devil in the Bible, and On, another name for the Egyptian sun god. And so they have this unholy witches brew combination, and higher level Masons are told this is the god you worship, Jabulon.
Jabulon.
Oh, there is one of the Masonic symbols, and as you can see, you have a triangle, the unholy trinity of the devil, and you have the eternal circle, the satanic boast that he will reign forever. And there you have Jah, meaning Jehovah. But in an unholy mixture, he's mixed with the bull, you might say, or Baal, and the Bible mentions that Baal is indeed a one of the ancient Canaanite fire gods, which is the devil. And then you have On, or On, which is the name of a city in Egypt wherein they worshipped the great sun god. And of course, his all-seeing eye is on our dollar bill.
Yes.
So how did that get there? Well, there's another story behind that.
We're going to get to all of that.
This is the Tau sign.
Go to the next shot there.
And here again we have, this is the highest sign of Royal Arch Freemasonry. Well, now there we have something that would appear to be from the Bible, because the Old Testament talks about the serpent being put up on a cross, and anyone who looked upon it was healed. But of course, in the occult, then they make the serpent to be holy.
Yes, they do. They're in their own works.
In their own works, and that's why the cover of my book, Codex Magica, has this Ouroboros serpent swallowing his own tail, which maybe we can talk about. Hey, here you've got an image of Aleister Crowley, the great, I call him great, he was really infamous,
right,
a British Satanist. And L. Ron Hubbard went and studied under this British Satanist and founded Scientology. But here, look at the symbols of his hands and the sun, radiant sun with a triangle on the headgear. Absolutely a Satanist. He would carve satanic images in the breast and the chest area of his women. He had a harem. And of course, he was also a bisexual, so he had males who he had sexual rituals with as well. These are all hideous emblems that bring in the male phallic symbol and all kinds of things.
They seem to worship that a lot.
Well, they do. Basically, all of these cults are sex cults, because the mystery religions, they go back to the mystery religions, and they're related to that, and they're all sex cults. They have the goddess, remember, they have the holy prostitutes in the temple, and all of these are throwbacks to those kinds of things. What we're seeing there underneath the Jabulon symbol, underneath is a 3x3 ceremony in one of the Masonic rituals, and basically they do their hands and legs in such a way that literally it forms 666 when you get to various numerological configurations.
I found a lot of 666s, and this leads us to Albert Pike here.
A little bust of Albert Pike. If you go visit the House of the Temple, and they do have tours in Washington D.C.
I've been there.
Oh, have you been there? Okay, I've never been there. I have many pictures of it, and it's exactly 13 blocks from the White House. Albert Pike was a Confederate war general. Now in Texas, the NAACP and other agencies are demanding that we take down any monuments or statues having anything to do with the Confederacy. If your school is named Robert E. Lee High School, change it. We want no vestiges of the old Confederacy. But isn't it interesting that Jesse Jackson, who's a 33rd degree Mason, Colin Powell, who's a 33rd degree Mason, have no problem with this man we saw, not this picture, but the one before, the bust of Albert Pike, who was a Confederate war general, who was wanted as a war criminal by Abraham Lincoln. And his statue today sits in front of the Justice Department in Washington, D.C. on public land, taken care of by the U.S. Park Service.
Right.
And he's a 33rd degree Mason, a Confederate war general, a war criminal.
And a capitalist.
Exactly. And so, but it's amazing. His tomb meaning his body is interred, the bones, inside the house of the temple.
Yes.
The international headquarters of Scottish Rite Freemasonry
When I
in
was
Washington,
there,
D.C.
she told me, she says, now this place is haunted.
Oh, it's haunted.
And I said, I'm not surprised.
Oh, yeah.
They took me around and they brought me to the Albert Pike room.
Oh, uh-huh.
Now, they had told me you're not allowed to be alone anywhere, right? Well, she left us alone there. And she's like, I'll be right back. Who's your grandfather? And she went and got my grandfather's membership card and then gave me a copy of Morals and Dogma and the glossary to Morals and Dogma.
Well, I'll be.
And, they found out that my family were all related.
Yeah, and they thought well, this guy could be one of us. You had
Go back to real quick.
Yeah, you had a picture of Karl Marx.
Hey, I want to talk a little about the beard. We've got Albert Pike and the beard.
Oh, yes.
Now we got Karl Marx doing the whole secret sign of Javelin.
The beard, of course, many bearded men out there will get angry at us, and I don't mean to cast any aspersions on bearded men, but it is true that back in the 1800s, a satanic sect began, and one of the signs of it was heavy beards like this. It was often called the League of Just Men, but of course they were not just at all. They were evil Satan worshippers, and Karl Marx was indeed a satanic priest. Now you see him here with his right hand in the coat. He is giving the hidden hand of the sign of Jabulon. Yeah. So that shows that he knew that the false god he worshipped was not God at all. He was Jewish, of course. His father, his grandfather, had been a Jewish rabbi, but he renounced even that faith and then became a Satanist. And one of his he also tried to become a poet, but he wasn't very successful. But in Olana, one of his early poems, he said his real goal was to destroy the whole world.
These people
destroy the whole world. Yeah, they do.
And these pictures now, they're set up as portraits. I mean, these are pictures that they intend to be shown and represent them.
You're right. You're right. That was like an official portrait of Karl Marx. But isn't it interesting if you ask 10 people on the street that you choose, what does that hand sign signify there in the coat? No, they wouldn't know. So again, they believe that they get some kind of a satanic advantage. By the way, one of the reasons for these various hand signs is that they believe it invokes or invites satanic deities to come from another dimension, and it gives them energy powers, for they worship indeed the God of forces. The Bible says the God of forces.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep
sure, let's keep moving. Okay.
No, that's great. Talk all you want. So these hand signs go back to ancient Egypt.
They really do. Egypt, Babylon, you're going to see many of the signs and many of the... this is Christopher Columbus. He was a member, of course, of a secret Illuminati order. And you notice the Knights Templar crosses in many of the paintings of the 3 ships that he brought over. But was his name really Christopher Columbus? No, it was not. No. And so there's a lot of secret history involved in all of these hand signs and such too, Freeman.
My belief is that they've taken on the name Columbia. That's our goddess. This is the male representation of Columbia.
This is the first time I've ever heard that said in public, but I believe it is true. District of Columbia, as you mentioned, the nation of Columbia, and we have if anybody would like to see her picture, maybe, I don't think it's a good representation, but we have Columbia Movie Studios.
Yes.
The gal with the Roman toga, and she's has a torch, that she's holding up and such.
Well, I set you up here a little clip here.
Okay.
The hook 'em horn sign. Now, this one, people say I love you, or, they say it means so many things, but it has always been something that rock and rollers use, and always been in connection with Satan.
It has. At first, when you had the really deep, back in the 80s and early 90s especially, and 70s, the heavy metal satanic rock people, that's when it really began. And Ozzy Osbourne, I remember one of the concerts, I never went to him, but I read that he actually had an altar call for the devil and said, come forward and worship the devil and give your life to the devil. And all the kids would be doing this kind of sign. Now, I look at an ignorance factor here.
Right.
And I give people, I'm not saying that everybody that does that sign is a Satanist. And of course, what we just saw was the University of Texas sign and the Longhorn sign. And I'm not at all impugning the integrity of Texas Longhorn fans. I'm one myself. But again, Here again, we have a sign that can be used for good, just to indicate the Texas Longhorn football team, or for evil.
Well, open witchcraft. I mean, we practice witchcraft openly these days. Roll this clip here, Shag.
We have Matthew McConaughey, who,
for A&M.
I need some thought here. You got to put a lot of thought into this hex because it's really powerful, or we wouldn't be up here doing this with these red candles, right? We don't even like red.
The tradition of the hex, lighting a red candle, goes back to the 1940s. The truth is,
A&M was killing UT for a number of years in a row, and a couple of students decided to go to a palm reader.
So they hired a local witch to put a hex on.
She said light red candles and keep them burning.
And we broke their curse in their undefeated season, 21-0.
Ever since then, Texas kicked the crap out of A&M.
and on this 64th anniversary of Madam Hippel's spell, these hexers mean business.
Here what we've seen then, Freeman, and you have captured it on film, is indeed an occult ceremony. Now, they may say it's all for good and fun, and that's what the Shriners who make an oath to Muhammad and Allah, they may say, oh, we don't really mean it, it's all good fun and everything. But I wonder what God looks upon, lighting red candles and doing hexes, saying we want to kill our opponent. Yes. And then even the Longhorn sign, maybe when you combine all those things together, I wouldn't think that would be invoking good forces, let's just put it that way.
I was not raised with a religion at all. But I have conclusively proven to myself that Satan rules this planet. Mm-hmm. So many things. I've done the corporate logos. I've looked into Columbia and her connections to Lucifer. All of these things show me constantly that our leaders are Satanists.
Now, what you've said is a cardinal principle. The Bible itself says Satan is God, with a small g now, of this world. Right. Temporarily, for whatever reason, God is allowing him to reign. The book of Revelation says he's furious because he knows he has but a short time. But you are right, and the signs are everywhere, but people don't know it. That's interesting because you say you're not a Christian, and yet you're more aware than 99.999 go out to the infinity of the Christians that I talk to. I don't know of any pastor that knows what you know about these things. That our culture is permeated with satanic symbols, signs, images, and doctrines. And yet the average pastor out there is saying, give us money and you'll get rich, and just into the most, in a way, they're in a form of black magic themselves. Yes. The average pastor. Or think positive, make positive confessions. None of these things having anything to do with true Christianity, but a lot to do with New Age occultism.
Yes.
So we're finding that. And of course, I'm a Christian myself. There is a true Christianity amidst all of the dense forest of false gods and worship. By the way, we're seeing a lot of symbols here. This is the Eastern Star.
Yeah, it's not just the men, it's the women.
Yeah, there's a women's group, and you see the satanic pentagram. The 2 points indicate the horns of the devil. Pointing upward there. Anytime you see a pentagon in the middle, that again is an occultic symbol, and it makes you think about the great war god Mars. It's one of the symbols of the war god Mars. And what is the pentagon at Washington, D.C.? In the shape of, well, of course, a pentagon and the god of Mars, or the god of war, which is Mars. By the way, Laura Bush is not a UT graduate, but I just saw her there giving the
kids too.
Yeah, the kids too.
Yeah.
One of the daughters, of course, is a UT graduate, but the mother, well, no. And I've even seen the senior Barbara Bush, the eminence lady. Seen her giving that sign as well.
Britney Spears giving the sign.
Yeah, now
we'll come back to her.
Okay, we'll come back to that. And notice that her, in this case, it's the satanic sign, but there's the thumb sticking out too.
That's
and many people say, "Oh, that's not the sign of Satan." Then that's the death signing of "I love you," but actually that's not always true.
Helen Keller in occult also?
Helen Keller was one of the ones who helped to formulate and bring the American Society for the Deaf signs to the fore. But she was also an occultist. She was a theosophist, a Swedenborgian, and I believe that's the reason why that's signed. Does it mean "I love you," or does it mean "I love you, devil"?
Yeah.
That's the question.
That is the question. Now, these people, they act as if they're here to help us, and they put themselves into placements to where they can pretend to help us.
Yeah, oh, well, here's the keeping the faith. That's an interesting. There's a communist fist. Keeping the faith and what? Communism, evidently, according to this Black Power salute type of a fist there, it seems.
Well, they give us their hand signs, you know. We're going to get into the peace sign in a minute. And they give it to us, and everybody thinks that, you know, they came up with it. All of a sudden, it's their sign of solidarity.
Yes,
But now look at these few pictures here. When they...
Yeah, here we have John Kerry. He's, of course, giving the communist fist.
Yes.
And that's what that is. It is the communist fist of solidarity. And there's
Schwarzenegger.
Good old Arnie. This one.
Bring this picture forward.
This one, it's not fully extended on either side, so it could just be
Bring that forward.
A vigorous, energetic gesture of some kind.
That guy in the face.
Oh, is that right? I hadn't seen this picture before, Freeman. Now this is.
I mean, the president's going a little crazy. I've been hearing a lot of stories.
There are rumors that actually pretty well substantiated that he may be on drugs again. I don't know. You know, there was a time that he had bruises all over his face, and they said he fell off a couch while he was sleeping. I've never had my face all bruised up falling off the couch.
I got a picture of that too.
You got a picture of that too? Okay, all right. But there may be something to that.
See, he doesn't quite have the fist right there, but I kind of figured that Colin's not entirely black.
Yeah, well, I see what you mean. He is definitely a 33rd degree Mason. There's no doubt, and he's been at the Bohemian Grove in California at their little teet-a-teet that's held annually.
Keep rolling there, Chuck. I just wanted to show you. He's not quite all brother. Yeah.
Here's an interesting Masonic sign. Several of the orders have this. It's an indication. It's pointing to the head, meaning the intellect. That they use reason, they use the intellect. Here's this must be Malcolm X, if I can remember right. And there he has on a Masonic ring, by the way. You can see, I believe, from here it's hard to see, but I believe in that picture there is a square and compass of the Masons. So he was not only a black Muslim, there it is, but he was a Mason. And there's the Prince Hall Masons, made up almost entirely of black people, black men, that is.
Right.
And here he's pointing to his head, and he's basically asserting that he is more intelligent and more all-knowing than the masses. And I would think that black people would be insulted. By the way, the X, of course, some people think it's from the Islamic faith or whatever, but of course X was one of the signs of Osiris, the Egyptian sun god. And the Islamic faith has many, many old vestiges of the old religions. Osiris, there we have the X again and various other symbols.
It has the... it was in the placement of the hands.
The placement of the hands in the cross. By the way, in some Masonic orders, they have Masonic funerals, and they do the legs or the hands
I wasn't
of the body. Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then right before the casket is covered, they cross the hands, just as they did in the ancient death burial rites of the Egyptian mummies and so forth. So here again, they hearken all the way back to the ancient mystery religions. And yet many of these people have the gall to call themselves Christians. Now there's Stephen King doing the X. And
that last mummy actually was Ramses, who is one of George Bush's descendants.
Oh, it could be.
According to David Icke.
Oh, really? So David Icke. I didn't know about that.
That's one of George Bush's relatives right there.
Well, yeah.
According to David Icke.
I thought you meant that the brain power was exactly the same. At this moment in time, I didn't know what you were referring to. But we saw Stephen King there. Of course, he's the king of the horror genre, fiction. But isn't it interesting? This was from either Time or Newsweek magazine, one of them. But here's an enigmatic sign he's giving, a mysterious sign. There was no caption that explained it. This is, I mean, people don't just, you don't take a picture of them and they don't just cross their hands like this. This is very obviously a sign of the dead.
Yes.
Going all the way back to Egypt. And I think he identifies with the dead.
Yeah.
And maybe he's been given special powers by forces from beyond, in other words, demonic, to write his books and become famous and rich.
It seems that, you know, I was watching Ocean's 12 the other day, and the guy in the movie is like, it's like this Kabbalism stuff doesn't even work.
Oh, yeah, they're sort of letting you know they're practicing Jewish Kabbalism. Jewish Kabbalism is a system of sorcery and medieval witchcraft that Albert Pike, in his Morals and Dogma, you know, his former sovereign grand commander, actually admitted was the very basis, the core of the Masonic rituals.
And then he called for the Holy Masonic Empire.
Yeah. That is the royal secret, he said, that we're going to set up an empire on earth. Now we have the X-Files, but right before that, you had Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was given a speech, wasn't he?
Yeah, and there was an anomalous X that kept showing up over him.
Yeah, on CNN, and here he's giving a speech talking about trying to justify the Iraq War. This was just a week or two ago, and this X shows up. Well, does it mean he's going to be X'd out? That would mean, you know, you're going to be killed. Well, I hope that wasn't true. I hope nobody is planning such a dastardly thing. You and I would be opposed to that.
Absolutely. Even
though he's not a very nice man. But it's interesting that somebody, maybe knowingly, put that X there.
Yeah.
Maybe they were identifying him. And by the way, he absolutely, his own office admits that he is a 33rd degree Freemason.
But they know, you know?
Yeah.
They know. Like, go to the next shot here. That is Scully, Dana Scully's tattoo off the X-Files. That was the last image they showed in the last episode before they were off the air. Was Scully's tattoo.
Here what we have is the serpent swallowing his tail. This is the royal secret now. Now this was another TV series called Millennium that was very popular right before the millennium, the year 2000, and that serpent biting its own tail is also found in the 33rd degree emblem of Freemasonry. It's found in Theosophy, which is an occult system and group. But that serpent is very, very important. Here we have Lenin, and some artists in Russia portrayed him as, a saint. St. George fighting with the riding of the white horse, fighting the serpent. But in fact, he was in bed with the serpent, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
And Lenin was just a monster, and tens of millions of people were purged, sent to the Soviet gulags because of the horror, the Red Terror by Lenin, who again was a Mason, a bisexual, and much worse.
Yeah, the more you look into each of these people, you find evil. I mean,
you do. You do. Now this is not a person. Interesting. This is a corporate logo. This is Lucent Technologies. But notice the striking similarity with the Ouroboros serpent biting its own tail, which is the supreme symbol of Satanism. Is Lucent Technology? Some person wrote to me and said they wondered if Lucent means Lucifer's enterprise. Yeah. Now, I have no evidence of that. I'm not trying, if anybody works for Lucent Technology, I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying what somebody wrote to me and asked that question.
They worship Lucifer. I mean, it's in their work.
Yeah, they do. I will say this. If an advertising agency came up with that symbol for Lucent, they did not do them justice, or maybe they did, because it does harken back. Here again, we have the serpent. Notice the crown on the top, the phoenix crown. Mm-hmm. The boast, you see, is that Satan was destroyed. He was the beast that was wounded, but shall come back to life. His system. And so he swallows himself, meaning every so many eons or ages, the world is destroyed and starts all over again. And literally the occult Illuminati today, Freeman, their goal, and this is the most secret of all secrets, is to destroy the whole world and then on the ashes, a new world order will be built. They don't wish to capture. People say, well, surely they wouldn't destroy economies. Surely they wouldn't topple cities with nuclear bombs because they're destroying their own property. You have to understand, they believe they're God men who will survive.
Right.
And they will go on, and a new world shall be formed. Back in the French Revolution, the Illuminists there had planned to kill most of the people of France. It wasn't just Marie Antoinette and King Louis that went to the guillotine, but the ordinary people began to be taken to the guillotine and murdered and massacred. And these people literally are brutal mass killers. That's why Pol Pot killed so many of his own people in Cambodia. Lenin and Stalin and Trotsky in Russia, and then Hitler in Germany. Whether it's the Nazi fascist on one side or the communist socialist to the left, they're all monsters. Yeah. And we fight in America between left and right and Republican and Democrat. These people control both factions with their Hegelian dialectic, and that is the true meaning. There is no difference between them. And once we understand that we're up against a juggernaut of evil that does not have a label, then we can be true Americans. We can come together, right, whatever our so-called political stripes. It doesn't matter if you're Bill Clinton on the left or George W. Bush on the right. These are evil men.
Yes.
So we're not politically in political partnership.
Bush,
Putin and Bush. And here's Nixon, by the way.
I would like to throw in real fast that if you look around, all the Mason temples in America are up for sale. There has
sold off. There has been a decline.
Well, I don't think it's due to a decline. I think they're ready to lay this country flat, and they're liquidating their assets.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Right.
That may well be. Certainly, at one time they had 6 million. Today there's around 2.5 million Masons. That's still a significant number, especially when you realize that the key politicians, the key financiers, are still Masons today. So you may be absolutely right.
We're never going to make it to the end of this, so we might have to. We're on.
We may have to do another program sometime.
I think we're going to need another program.
By the way, in Druid witchcraft, they use this same sign. These are not people just giving a little victory sign. That sign that was made famous by Winston Churchill, is the satanic horn devil sign, if you go back and study it. Not that everybody using it means that, but certainly that's the origins of it. This is Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, who certainly knew many of these signs, let's just say,
yes,
as a Mason and a member of the OTO, an occult society.
In the Scientology, you pointed out the 666 and that with the serpent. L. Ron Hubbard wanted to be the beast. When Crowley died, he wanted to take the place. Now
I had read that. His own son wrote a book exposing him. That tells you something when your own son does a book. This is a guy named Jack Parsons here, I can tell from that picture, under an arch. And the arch has always been an important symbol among the Masonic and other secret societies. Jack Parsons was the guy who he was a brilliant scientist, and the NASA space program recognizes him as one of the greatest rocket scientists ever. He invented the solid fuel for the rocket program. We wouldn't have the space program had it not been for him. He was also a satanic high priest, right, who conducted sexual rituals. And here's a drawing of him with his girlfriend, and they conducted rituals called Babylon working.
Right.
And they believed that through sexual rituals, this rocket scientist, Jack Parsons out in California, believed that they could have a child who would be the Antichrist.
Right.
And that would be their honor, they believed, to bring forth into the world the Antichrist as their child. This is the demented way of these men. By the way, he was a big friend of L. Ron Hubbard. They were in the same cult before Scientology was formed. I'm not saying Scientology is Crowleyan or Parsons or anything. I'm just saying that L. Ron Hubbard, his origins were there.
L. Ron Hubbard Jr. said that it was black magic spread out over a long period of time. It's not one particular ritual to really get you. It's a long ritual.
A long. I think that all of these hand signs and everything collectively, cumulatively, are poisoning America. Michael Jackson, you always see him giving that sign. He knows what it is. He studied under a Jewish rabbi, studied the Jewish Kabbalah system of magic, and I think he must be a very deep occultist.
We're almost to
the rappers like to give that, and there's a lot of different. There's Ozzy Osbourne giving you can see right away that sign. He knows it's a sign of Satan. Now we have been the Mr. Spock. Everybody thought he just made that up,
right?
But actually, that is the one of the letters of the Jewish alphabet. Mm-hmm. So this is Jewish Kabbalah. This is magic. When he did this on Star Trek, he literally was causing every person who was viewing that program to become participant in a Jewish Kabbalistic ritual. That's called the letter Shin in the Jewish alphabet. So that wasn't something that the creators of Star Trek made up. That actually was an occult symbol that Leonard Nimoy came up with there.
Star Trek
from his Jewish
like
background.
Freemason dream, military spacefaring race. I mean, that's their dream. I really start to believe that these guys are aliens. Yeah, the movie V. We're back to the V.
The reptilian. Well, certainly they have a spirit that is reptilian in nature. I can tell you that. Yeah. Whether David Icke is correct or not about the mask coming off, but you do wonder if Satan doesn't have the ability to be a shape shifter. And again, I'm not saying that's true or anything else. But it's interesting that in the book of Genesis it talks about something sort of similar to that. How these aliens come forth and take as their wives the beautiful daughters of men and create a horrible new race on earth. So horrible that God destroyed the race with the flood of Noah. So that has some biblical significance. This is the raw alien. They're a UFO cult. And it's interesting that although they seem to desecrate the Star of David, the Jewish Star of David, they've been invited over to Israel, and that with great ceremony they're given land and everything by the Jewish government there. That was the head, by the way, of the raw alien cult. Isn't that sort of interesting that they seem to welcome? And in the middle of their symbol is the Nazi swastika. But the Israeli government finds nothing wrong with that. I think something is strange.
Oh, we jumped ahead here.
Here we have more Masons with their funny little caps.
I was really surprised when you brought up Michael Richards as a Freemason.
Michael Richards of the Seinfeld show. Jerry Seinfeld, of course, is also into Kabbalism.
Yes.
And there he's given a Kabbalistic sign, by the way.
I've got a few
you can tell that
here. The Das Seinfeld archives.
The Das Seinfeld archives.
Let me see if I can pick these out. Well, no, we got that one.
Yes.
And that's the same one you got Rasputin here doing in your book.
Here's Nixon giving a penal sign of Freemasonry. These are all
the right angle. And it's Ozzy giving the right
There's
angle.
Ozzy giving he's on the square, as the Masons would say there.
Right.
And so
this one, and then that one, I noticed when I was going through these. Now you see Kramer is giving that one, and Jerry's giving the other one.
There you go.
And
there you go.
Wayne and George are doing the hermaphrodite.
Yes, they are, and that's interesting. All of them are giving occultic secret society signs on Seinfeld. Seinfeld was a show that if you dissected would find incredible occultism and symbology, wouldn't you? Yeah. Here's Phillips 66.
Well, see,
a lot of these corporate logos are interesting.
What I've discovered in realizing that they were practicing a Hebrew mysticism is that hold that there, Chuck. The letter V in Hebrew is 6. Right?
Oh yes, and the vowel. Yeah, that's correct.
Instead of So when you look at VW there, you actually see two
very
V's,
interesting.
Right? W. Which I found the number 66 is the number of the fallen angels.
Wow.
And so W actually means the fallen angels in magic. And VW, he crossed the two V's, making 666 because he knew. And
incredible.
They realized that Hitler is practicing Hebrew magic. Okay, that one's for a little.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to these fallen angels.
It does indeed. The fallen angels that have taught these men these horrible things. Samael is a name for the devil. Lilith, by the way, is the consort.
Yeah.
Of the devil. This is the mistress of the devil. There we have Baphomet, the horned god. Well, he's saying that's for the sign for W, but is it? I would think it's the unholy trinity. Here's simply The Sign of the Devil by Prince William. And this, oh my.
Self-made into an angel.
I understand down in South America, a certain town down there dedicated that statue of the dark angel to Prince Charles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was proud of it. Proud to be associated with the devil. There's the angel. A black, dark angel. That's Prince Charles. It's in the square of a town. Isn't it down in South America somewhere?
Yeah.
Prince Charles.
Yes.
It's astonishing.
Because it all goes back to magic.
It is magic. It's rituals. And here again, this is the sign of admiration or astonishment or surprise.
And surprised he called up that little demon.
Yeah. In this case, there's Aleister Crowley. You can see all the various
That's in his Masonic
symbols.
regalia, and go back to that, Chuck. Even though we only got a few minutes left. He's in his Masonic regalia there, and it's signed, of course, his name, the Baphomet.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about.
Oh, that's interesting. He signs as Baphomet.
Yeah.
And there is a symbol of Baphomet as well. Yeah. This is the man he prided himself, he called himself the wickedest man on the planet.
Right. And now his handwritten works are at the UT campus at the Harry Ransom Center. The Book of the Law, the most sinister book he's ever written.
I was right there.
It's right here.
Well, they paid millions of dollars to get all these wonderful works, haven't they?
Yeah.
Astonishing. Marilyn Manson, of course. Here's George
showing all the different
Washington. Yeah.
Of Baphomet.
This is one of the statues of George Washington that was first erected in Washington, D.C., making him into a Roman god. But there was a little embarrassment over it because of his nakedness and because of the Roman god or Roman emperor image. And that's set somewhere in some back closet of a museum.
Well, he's in the same position as the Baphomet.
Yeah, it's the same, this very same position as the Baphomet. Here we have the serpent, and you have the image. Notice, as above, so below.
Yes.
That's the meaning of that Jewish Star of David, two triangles together. And he's
there.
Yeah, so here again we get back to some of the more deep occult symbols of Satan.
That's all the pictures we're going to get.
All right. We got to a lot today.
Yeah.
We sure did.
But we got time to talk about this some more. We can let it roll, I guess. Because now we're finding that this all goes back to a Hebrew Kabbalism, and everybody is openly practicing this. Demi Moore just had a Kabbalistic wedding. True. Madonna, Britney, they're all practicing.
I saw Bill Clinton had his little red wristband. Oh, yeah, he's into the Kabbalah, too.
Yeah,
Newt Gingrich is into the Kabbalah. Yeah, they're all practicing black magic of Kabbalah.
Where do we go from here? What's the...
Well...
let's go ahead and stop it there.
Isn't it always true that there is the majority that's sort of just unknowing, and then there is a significant minority who is evil, that is versed in the deep things of Satan, and then you have a few good Christian people and people of goodwill that I hope will become Christian, myself as a Christian, because we need some fighters, we need some warriors. And I'm not talking, you can go in almost every church in Austin, Texas, you're not going to find true Christians. You just find pew sitters, people that just sit there. They're not willing to fight evil. Most people are frightened to death. I give you credit, Freeman.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm just stupid.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I can tell you're not. But you have courage, you have boldness. And I think that matters a lot. And you're doing the people of America a great service.
What else?
We deserve more than this horror that we're seeing, this magical ritual. And you know the media, and ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, the networks, and Time Magazine, Washington Post, all of the various news agencies, they're involved in this. They know what they're showing us. They know they're participating in this march of evil images and symbology and so forth. They are part of the evil force. But I want to assure people, though, these people are not going to win ultimately. They have great power. They can do great damage. But I don't believe ultimately they're going to win. I believe truth has its own reward and it has its own great power. And I believe, I don't mean to preach to people. I'm not here to do that tonight necessarily, but I believe that the resurrection power of Christ Jesus demonstrated the power. The devils of hell couldn't keep him down. He triumphed over them.
Jesus told me I could walk on water. You know?
Yeah, well, he could. He can walk on water, and I think these people, in a way, are pitiful. They're much miserable. You know, as a Christian, I don't need formulas. I don't need numerology. I don't need all these symbols and all this garbage.
They go through a lot of effort.
Yeah, well, they do. And a lot of them, believe me, are frightened. What if they make the wrong hand sign? What if the ritual backfires? You'll read in their own literature, they're saying if you don't do the ritual right, these evil spirits can come forth.
I've read that in Freemason works.
Yeah. So a lot of these people get trapped into this, and they literally are desperate. And some of them end up killing themselves. Jack Parsons, we mentioned him, the great rocket scientist. He died in an explosion, but many people say he killed himself.
Right.
He exploded. His own works, exploded in his home.
Deep within our souls, we know. And they know.
They know. They know whom they worship. They will have 1,000 disguises. It's like a witch that I debated up in Seattle on a TV station there. She said, "Oh, you horrible Christians, we witches do not worship the devil. The devil is a Christian invention." And I asked her, and sort of like the old Phil Donahue show, the host comes up and sticks a microphone in my face. What's your response to that, Mr. Morris? And I asked this witch, I said, "You don't worship the devil?" She said, "Absolutely not." I said, "But you as a witch do worship Pan, the horned god of the forest." "Well, yes," she said, "but that's not the devil."
Right.
Well, the horned god is the horned god. I don't worship a horned god, do you?
No,
Freeman? So here again, they attempt to disguise it. In one of the Masonic books I was reading by 33rd degree Mason John Robinson, Pilgrim's Path, that was published by a Masonic publishing house, he says, while we don't worship Lucifer, we don't even believe in Lucifer.
Yeah.
Lucifer's not the devil. Lucifer's a good angel.
Right.
He was the solar angel, the sun angel. And you Christians have it all mixed up. Lucifer is not the devil.
Right.
So they're setting up people so that when people do find out who they're really worshiping, they say, but that's not the devil. Lucifer isn't the devil. He's a good angel.
I sent a friend of mine one of my videos. I've got a 3-hour video now, and you saw it. And he went and joined the Masons the next month.
Well, maybe he wanted to get a bit of that magic. Maybe he wanted to partake of that supernaturalism. But I want to warn people, you don't
get something for nothing.
I can't tell you how many people have committed suicide after dabbling with these things. I'm not trying to scare people. If you want names, by the way, read my book, Ravaged by the New Age. You'll have names of a number of Satanists and others who killed themselves and actually killed others too. There are people killing others in satanic rituals, even to this day in America.
If they join this secret society, they get all the perks of the system, they get to be president, head of the banks, and all of this, and they believe that it's only due to the fact that they've stepped up to this altar, kneeled down, and worshiped Jabalon, and they think there's no payment for this. That, if I just get up here and swear to cut my throat open and rip my tongue out, then I'm all good. I get a good job. There's no free lunch.
The devil requires things of you.
Yes.
I remember there was a witch who was really sort of like the highest level witch in the state of Florida. She wrote a book called The Witch That Switched.
Yeah.
She switched to Christianity. She said as a witch, she never was satisfied. The devil never had enough and kept requiring her more and more of her. And so she was a miserable person. And I believe these people will end up that way too. If all they want is a temporary gain.
Right. Yes. It's not all about the third dimensional reality.
That's right.
And these people are selling you the third dimensional, the American dream, but it's all Satan representing this order.
That's right.
I've seen it in my father. I've seen it, countless times. And thank you, Tex.
Hey, thank you, Freeman. It has been great being here tonight.
It's been wonderful.
And it's great to expose evil.
It is.
And I appreciate your courage on this program very much.
What else could we do, right? We can't just sit back and let this happen.
No, we can't. And we've got to fight. We are fighting.
Yes.
And it's amazing. Many people say, why aren't you dead, Tex Mars? Well, I'm going to be right here till God calls me home. And it's not going to be because of these people. Okay.
That was
hey, I think we did pretty good.
That was great. Yeah.
That went fast, man.
It does, doesn't it?
Man.
I was like, oh man, we're never gonna we didn't even get through half the pictures.
Wow.
We'll have to do it again.
Well, we will have to do it again. You just did a marvelous job. I can't.
Hello, and welcome to the Freeman Perspective. We have a great show planned for you today. Got Tex Mars with you once again. This is gonna be a good one. We didn't make it through all of our pictures last time, and so I decided to reorganize this, and we'll finish off those images. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Well, I tell you, you had so many pictures last time. The depth of research is just incredible that you've done, Freeman, and I want to compliment you on that. It took me 5 years to put my new book out, Codex Magica, so I well understand the incredible discipline and work that it takes.
It does.
You had an astonishing array of pictures and photos, and each one of those means something. There's a whole message being sent out by images now, and people, I believe, I don't know if you agree with me on this, I think you do, but people, their minds are literally being programmed.
Definitely.
Controlled, mesmerized. There is a form of hypnotism. And I believe the people doing it, some of the chief elite in the whole world, literally are occult magicians.
Absolutely. I mean, right from the get-go, ABC, NBC, and CBS, those are all Kabbalistic symbols.
Yes, they are. They are AOL.
AOL.
The whole field of corporate logos.
Hold that there, Shag.
Now, Hooters, I'm not so sure about Hooters having any occult significance, but maybe the audience might like it.
Well, go back an image there, Shag.
Decoration. Well, they are given a sign with their hand.
Yeah, I talked them into that.
Okay.
Because if you see, the Olympic symbol, I wasn't really planning on, it was the next one, but the Olympic symbol, of course, is the 5 rings of Venus, and put on there by Hitler. But I wanted to get to the goddess, because here she stands on our Capitol, holding her pentagram.
Lady Liberty, that's right. Texas Capitol, huh?
Well,
and our U.S. Capitol too.
Right.
There's a different form of this same goddess.
Exactly.
If she is the chief patroness, spiritual guide, let's say, of Texas, then she must also be the one that we must look to, adore, venerate, honor, and maybe worship in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So she is an important, and yet, if you go out on the streets of Austin, if you go down Congress Avenue, or any street in America, of any city, and ask 10 people, what does the goddess on top of that Capitol building signify? They would have no answer for you.
None.
They might say liberty,
right,
like the Statue of Liberty, but other than that, they have no understanding. You mentioned Venus. You brought in an ancient god, or goddess, I should say, the love goddess, Venus. But who does this signify, and what does it mean? And I thought America was a Christian nation.
Yes.
So what would a goddess like Venus or a Greco-Roman goddess have to do with anything, Freeman?
That's the biggest question. I mean, Tex, when we get to the bottom of that question and why the Freemasons worship this goddess, I think we'll have something. I mean, I think we'll really start to understand what they're after.
Yes, and maybe what the secret societies have intended for America, and even for Texas, because Texas has a role, because Texas, and I am a very patriotic Texan. From the time I was a kid, I always thought that there was only 2 nations, Texas and the United States, that mattered, and Texas was first on the order of priorities. So I am a very patriotic Texan. But nevertheless, it always fascinated me when I began to understand that even our founding fathers, if you call them of Texas, were Freemasons, members of a secret society.
Stephen Austin, absolutely.
So maybe the fact that Texas was taken from Mexico has something to do with the Masonic Lodge, secret societies.
Well, yes, and wasn't it, Santa Ana was also a Freemason, right?
Yeah, and so maybe it was a, let's say, friendly war between an alliance of tribes within secret societies. Secret societies often war with each other even.
Yes.
Jockey for position, power. There are many secret societies, but I believe behind all of them, there is a human group that we would call the Illuminati. Mm-hmm. And then behind that, I believe there are devil powers, literally demon powers.
They absolutely call upon demons. I mean, they admit this. They go into their lodge, they cast their wine and oil and corn, and they call upon the different entities to come in. And I've read, I think it was Churchward, who was saying that, well, they called in all the wrong spirits, and it was chaos. We didn't know what to do.
It's interesting. I was at the largest, here in Austin, we have the largest New Age occult bookstore in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And in South Austin. And I was talking to the owner some years ago. He's a nice gentleman.
Hold on there, Shag.
And we mentioned how much chaos there seemed to be among the New Age occult world. And he said, well, many in the New Age occult world worship the god of chaos.
Yes, they do.
That's what he told me.
Yes, they do.
You were talking about that before the program.
I was at New Orleans, and the Knights of Chaos opened the whole parade, and they called it the Babylon Parade. And they had the Bacchus Parade, the Chaos Parade. They were throwing Hades cups at us. And I meant to bring those little things with me, but you probably wouldn't have been able to see them on the screen anyway. But yes, I mean, that was just... When it's just amazing to see that no one really realizes what's going on. It's become a party. It's become a...
No, you meant Bacchus. The Bacchanalian they used to have in ancient Europe. What is that all about? Of course, they had sexual orgies. They worshipped the gods of the underworld and all kinds of things. The devil, really, all the images we have of the devil, they would have prominent in the Bacchanalia. And here we have it at Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. And yet many people say, well, Mardi Gras has something to do with the Catholic Church,
right.
and the Lenten season coming on, but it actually has something to do with devils.
Yes.
And the Catholic Church just sort of threw in their little bit in it. And I'm not insulting the Catholic Church. I'm simply saying maybe they need to strip out what they do from the Bacchanalia of the Mardi Gras, which is really a heathen pagan ceremony.
It absolutely was. Here, Chad, go back real quick to the goddess again. He was moving forward.
There is a goddess named Hecate,
mm-hmm.
the Ather, of the owl.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to show.
That image. We'll get back to that maybe.
Now, one thing I noticed about the goddess on the Capitol is her strange facial features. Now, some people say that she was designed that way so that she looked almost human from the ground. Mm-hmm. But I started looking into the Babylonian images, and that's how they depict their gods and goddesses with these large eyes.
She's very strong. She supposedly is a virgin. But it really means that no one is able to divine her mind. So she is virgin in terms of being especially gifted in knowledge, and no one has been able to penetrate her wisdom. But it's interesting, she also is a hermaphrodite in a sense.
Yes.
Both male and female. And remember the god worshipped by the Knights Templar, one of the ancient secret societies that Freemasonry was spun out of. The Knights Templar worshipped the horrible devil god Baphomet.
Right.
And Baphomet was a horned god, supposedly male, but had female breasts.
Right.
A hermaphrodite. So it looks to be the facial features here, you're absolutely right, Freeman, are masculine.
And they're very Babylonian also.
In Washington, D.C., we have the goddess in her warrior garb and headdress.
A Native American, it seems.
Yeah, almost Native American, because there are feathers in her headdress.
Yeah.
Now, in the Parthenon, I don't know if you have anything on the Parthenon.
No.
In Nashville, Tennessee, they have a great statue of the goddess.
Athena. Yes.
Yeah, Athena.
Yes.
She was the goddess of wisdom. We go back now to the owl.
Right. Now, that's why I threw this picture of the Hooters girls
really?
in there. You
The
see?
Hooters.
Yes.
Oh,
you
now
get it?
now I get the connection. I tell you, it takes a while. He's got to get the connections. And all
Yeah, they're
this stuff.
subtle.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can move on.
I never realized that, the Hooters.
Yes.
Oh, there's more than... And the feminine thing. I know it's their breast they're talking about. I assume it is.
But there's the owl.
Wow.
And of course, I caught this shot right there with the moon. That's the full moon hanging out over the pyramid.
Isn't that something?
And of course, she's a lunar deity.
Now this is the building in downtown Austin.
Yes.
Wow.
The Frost Bank, which of course is surrounded by pentagrams. The whole base of the building has pentagrams all around the base.
Oh, wow.
Inverted and right side up. It doesn't, both of them.
You know, throughout the world, there are satanic architecture. They're monuments.
Mm-hmm.
Stony Beast is what we could call them.
Yeah.
Here's a Stony Beast right here in Austin, Texas. And then we have this symbol here. And I can't remember. Now, there is the Bohemian Grove. This could be theirs.
That is.
Okay, that's the Bohemian Grove.
Okay, go on.
The secret society out in California that meets once a year. And mainly, you know, they have the various sects. And the Republicans seem to gravitate to the Bohemian Grove. But then there's so many other different secret
I just
societies.
learned that a number of the Grateful Dead are also members of Bohemian Grove.
But on the other hand, Senator or Vice President Al Gore says that the Grateful Dead were his favorite group.
Oh, I bet.
And I have a picture of Albert Gore wearing one of their ties. That Jerry Garcia, the lead guy of the Grateful Dead, designed.
Right.
They had the ties that cost a lot of money.
And of course, they were originally called
the Grateful Dead concerts. Albert Gore. Now he's a Democrat, so
Right.
It is true. Not a dime's worth of difference between the.
No.
Now
originally they were called the Warlocks.
Oh, the Warlocks.
Yeah.
Oh, so witches.
Yes.
It's interesting, though. We now know for sure from declassified Central Intelligence Agency documents that Jerry Garcia was working for the CIA.
Absolutely.
Spreading all this LSD and drugs to everybody, encouraging the kids to think about necromancy and communication with the dead, promoting the drug revolution. He was a CIA operative.
Yes.
Isn't that an amazing thing? You know, so some people who worship Jerry Garcia, seems to be their anti-establishment, but he was par excellence establishment.
People hate to hear that.
What a deceit we have in America today.
It is so subtle, and it's all around us. It's like, I mean, the Brotherhood is the filter that the stars rise up through. So here we have Demi Moore. And of course, she was a rising star.
Yeah.
And she just had a Kabbalistic wedding.
Yeah, she is a Kabbalist, and she's married to Ashton Kutcher, a Jewish Kabbalist. Well, you know, they had the Hollywood Oscars this week, and it was basically a Jewish festival.
Right.
And we're not talking about...
It was.
Yeah, it was. It's not... In fact, there's an article that I saw in Jerusalem Post that came out yesterday, and it said... They say we own Hollywood. We do. So what? As a Jerusalem Post, like, yeah, we own it now. Right. We're finally willing to admit it.
Well, how could they hide it?
Well, they really can. You know, John Stewart, who emceed the awards, was Jewish.
Right.
Sandra Bullock, bless her heart, and I love her. She's Jewish. So we have a Jewish festival. They own Hollywood. They've always owned it. A man named Gabler wrote a book some years ago, and Jews actually bought the book in great numbers. It was called An Empire of Their Own. How the Jews took over and now control Hollywood.
Well, have a look at this clip. Play this clip, Shag. This is Madonna.
The Material Girl.
The Material Girl. And, you know, because she was such a whore, and then represents the Madonna, right? You know, she is.
Oh, I see what you mean. She's the
epitome
mother
of the whore of
yet
Babylon.
It's a mocking of Mary.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and her videos express that.
Yes, I mean we've got war, hell on wheels.
There's always, it seems, something about to blow up around Madonna, which brings us to the latest controversy. Her new documentary, I'm Going to Tell You a Secret. Clearly, her belief in Kabbalah, the study of Jewish mysticism, has deeply affected her. Is the young woman who once so publicly rejected the Catholic faith of her childhood now Jewish? You attend Jewish services now.
Well, that's what some people think. I don't attend Jewish services.
Straighten us out.
Well, I hear the Torah, but I'm not Jewish, and nor have I converted to Judaism. I think I'm connecting to something that predates religion.
Okay, hold it there. The Jews who are not Jews, you know, they openly admit they practice this Kabbalism. Hollywood's rife with it. But yet, we're all left out of the loop, you know? What's going on, you know?
Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, what is the Kabbalah, the Jewish Kabbalah? It's spelled about 3 ways, but whichever way it's spelled, it means the same thing. Now, if we look at the Kabbalah, it's a system of sorcery, witchcraft, and magic. And there are a number of Jews who are opposed to the Kabbalah. We need to know that first of all.
Right.
And yet there are even Orthodox Jewish rabbis, the Lubavitchers and others, who have embraced Kabbalah. But Kabbalah comes really, literally, all the way back from Babylon.
Yes.
And it was Babylonian magic of the worst kind. And it polluted the Jewish religion and faith. But today, there's not only the Talmud, which is the holy book of the Jews, but there's the Kabbalah. Now, there are many volumes. The Zohar is probably the most prominent. But what I want people to know, it is a combination of many occult disciplines, numerology, astrology, literally making the Hebrew alphabet into idols. And colors. There's even colors that make it. If you notice, she was wearing red. Mm-hmm. That's the primary color of the Kabbalah and also of the Whore of Babylon, according to the book of Revelation, the Bible, Revelation 17.
Wait, go back.
Now, Albert Pike, who was Sovereign Grand Commander of Freemasonry back in the Civil War, and he is actually recognized and honored by Freemasons around the world as the par excellence role model for all Masons. Mm-hmm. I see you have his book here.
Yes, that was given to me at the Temple of the 33rd.
Yeah, here we have Morals and Dogma, the classic textbook of Freemasonry. We have the double-headed eagle symbol on the front cover.
I got some of that on there. So.
Okay, now, Albert Pike said this about Freemasonry in this very book. He says that Freemasonry is based almost totally on the Kabbalah.
Yes.
Jewish magic.
Yes.
And many Jewish rabbis have admitted this, and they say that in all of the rituals of Freemasonry, you will find the Kabbalah, the system of magic of the Jews. For example, the 30th degree of Freemasonry is the Knights of Kadosh.
Yes.
And it involves skulls and black robes and a knight laying in a coffin speaking from the dead.
Yes.
And all of this turning to the god of the underworld, the gods of the underworld, is all related to Jewish Kabbalah because they believe in necromancy, communication with the dead. And they also believe that it is their goal as gods, once you become a Kabbalistic master, and they believe that in the last days, a Kabbalistic master will come upon the earth, and there will be a Jewish utopia, a new world order of the Jews, and all Gentiles who convert at least to Kabbalah. Now, they don't have to convert to Judaism.
Right, as Madonna was saying.
But they must go along with what are called the Noahide laws and be good Gentiles and go along with Kabbalah. And if they recognize that the Holy Spirit is the serpent, the great universal serpent, they actually believe the one swallowing his tail, the Ouroboros serpent, is the Holy Spirit. And by the way, that's also taught in the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, that is, the serpent is the Holy Spirit. And he is going to encircle the earth with his doctrine and bring forth this great Kabbalistic master. We would call him the Antichrist in Christianity, to be honest. So this is just a number of their doctrines. Now, Madonna may have got into it because she lacks the magic. She thinks she can get miracles from it.
Right.
She can enhance her power.
Well, she raised to the top.
Yeah, she can be like a witch who can charm the world and bring enchantment. Yeah, she has raised to the top by worshiping, I think, nothing but Lucifer.
Yes.
And look at her.
Oh, well, this is Brittany.
Brittany.
One picture there. She actually passed on the Madonna ship to Britney, and then Madonna became Esther.
You know, I never had thought of that till you told me about that, Freeman. That kiss.
The kiss.
Because in all of the Kabbalistic secret society rituals, they are based on a foundation of Tantra or sexual ritual.
Yes.
And that's the meaning, by the way, of the G in Freemasonry. You have the square and the compass, and they're mounted on each other.
Right.
It's the male mounting the female, and they become as one.
Right.
So here we see a beginning of the sexual act on TV.
Right.
And notice also you have the wedding of white and black.
Exactly, yes.
Everything is done in a ritual here. It's an amazing thing. Notice that Madonna, facing the audience, she is to the left in terms of her orientation, not the audience's.
Right.
And Britney is on the right. So you have the old, the evil, and now she is going to initiate the innocent newcomer into her role.
And this is why I go to the next shot.
You told me, and I began to see the significance of this.
And then she comes out dressed as a bride.
As a bride, yeah, she's the bride of Satan in a sense.
Right.
Absolutely incredible.
Now, where did she come up from? She was a Mouseketeer. Come on. Let's get to Walt Disney here. Move on a little bit, Shag. Because, Walt Disney, people, here she is as a Mouseketeer, and it wasn't just her. It's oh God, I forgot all their names now. I don't listen to pop music.
Funicello, but I know that there have been several recently.
Yes,
as Mouseketeers. Well, in Disneyland, there is a club that's been established that you and I don't think we'll ever be invited.
Probably not.
Only the elite are able to come. It's Club 33.
Interesting.
Yeah, 33, of course, is the highest initiate level of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, and there's Club 33. Of course, Mr. Disney himself, Walt Disney, and his brother Roy, they were Masons, Freemasons.
Well, most people don't recognize. Let this play. That Disney World is. Go ahead and let that play, Shag. Disney World looks like a whole fun bunch of rides, but what we actually have here are a number of rides. Now, I grew up in Orlando, and we got a number of rides that are sponsored by military industrial corporations. And so when you save your thousands of dollars and go to Disney World, all of that goes straight to the military industrial corporations. Exxon has a dinosaur ride. RCA, hold that there. RCA has those Space Mountain, and when you come off of Space Mountain, it shows you exactly what the future's going to hold. It shows you getting your learning from television on the computer, and then as you're finally exiting Space Mountain, it shows you on television.
You on television? Wow.
Big Brother is watching,
in my book, Ravaged by the New Age, some years ago, which exposed the occult, and it's really, it's grabbing the minds of our kids, our children.
Yes.
I had a picture in there of Michael Jackson. Now, this is before people knew that he was a pedophile, a predator, and I believe he is. And there was Michael Jackson as Captain EO.
Right.
They had they showed the kids one of the rides, one of the prominent ones. They actually had a little motion picture, I think 13 minutes long, of Michael Jackson. He was really dressed up like some kind of a satanic guy, but they called this Captain EO. Right. Now, interestingly, if you go back and you study the Babylonian, the Greek, the Roman, the worst of the secret societies, you will find there was a character named EO. That is a name of the devil, EO. Right. And Michael Jackson was Captain EO at Disney World.
Right.
So
and Oz was the lowest level of hell.
Oz.
Yeah.
Well, now, the guy who wrote the Oz books, Baum, B-A-U-M, Frank Baum, was very much into theosophy, into the occult world.
It's rampant. Yeah. This was something I had noticed. Now, magicians are heavily into mirrors, all right? They love their mirrors and their little mirrored tricks. Even the cover of that new book with Dan Brown that I finally read, the mirrored reflection. The Da Vinci Code has a mirrored reflection on there. Well, if you look at the mirror reflection of CNN, I see WD. There it went. If you showed that into a mirror, it would say WD, Walt Disney. Now, in numerology that I've been studying, W I found relates to the fallen angels. That's what W stands for. And D, which is a symbol of the goddess, D, Deleth in Hebrew, means door. So CNN or WD would be door of the fallen angels.
Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that crazy? There he is making his right arm, right angle. Well, he's behind you, but yeah, see that he makes sure the right arm.
His first movie was called, feature-length movie, was called Fantasia.
Go forward.
And the music score was written by Igor Stravinsky, who was a down-and-out hardcore occultist. The movie was so evil in its form that it was not a commercial success. It was a total flop because it actually frightened people.
Right.
And the movie was so patently evil, they had to actually put it on the shelf.
Right.
Now, about 40 or 50 years later, only in the last decade or so, they pulled it back out of the vault again and dressed it up just a little bit and gave it general distribution. Now you can get it at video stores, Fantasia.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. In other words, they say now is the time. People back then, the kids had not been propagandized by television. They don't know about Mickey Mouse as a magician, a sorcerer.
Right.
And now the magic, you see. So the kids had not been indoctrinated into magic. But now they're ready. They're ready for Fantasia.
Right.
And it was re-released.
Bill Clinton said that in his 2000 speech. He said, "Our children are ready."
They're ready for the new age.
They're ready. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, just to give you a little example here in the Littlest Mermaid, or the mermaid story that Disney put out, in that castle in the background is a penis. Go to the next shot.
Sorry to say that. It's disgusting. But you're right. They have changed the fairy tale castle and given it a
penis. I mean, it's right there. I hate to show it, but these guys are phallus worshippers.
And what we have is the sun image. See all the sun images there, the shining sun, the color even. This is the basis of Freemasonry and the secret societies and Kabbalah. It is a sex cult.
Yes.
No wonder Madonna would gravitate.
Yes. And Brittany, back to Brittany, and there she is with her serpent.
Now she has a white serpent. Now remember again, she came in with a white, wearing a white dress and the wedding dress. Here the snake, that would indicate that she really is a follower of white witchcraft, the right-handed path. Right. But of course, that's not true. There's no such thing as the right and left-handed path. You're either into Satanism and witchcraft or you're not.
Right.
But they like to think that.
To me, this manipulation seems like a form of rape. I mean, really.
Really?
Just to tear the veils. Wait, go back. To tear the veils and force mystical events to occur.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, they schedule all these things and everything, even the presidential inauguration oftentimes, all the elements of it, even the Bible that they give the oath from is from St. John's Lodge in New York City, a Masonic lodge. Everything is steeped in occultism.
My father's ritual Bible. And I heard that when Ronald Reagan was going to take his oath of office, his wife couldn't hold this heavy thing. So they substituted a different Bible for him.
Yeah, we did. I don't know if you'll get this, but people look at this. It says Holy Bible, and it looks just great. But down here you have the square and the compass and the G inside.
Yes.
And this is the male, and he's mounted over the woman, the square.
Right.
And it's a diamond. The Hindus talk about the diamond in the lotus, which is a sex phrase, because they practice tantric sexual yoga in the Hindu faith, and there the word G, which the Masons will tell you means God. Then later they tell their own Masonic people it means geometry.
Right.
But then in the deeper levels of the secret societies and Freemasonry, you find out that it means the generative act. In other words, sex.
Right.
It's a sex cult.
Based in Kabbalah. Go ahead and keep going here.
That's a Sephiroth there.
Yes.
The 10 parts of the Kabbalah.
And there's our goddess of the pentagram.
Now the tarot cards is interesting because the tarot cards, all of the tarot cards are based on the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet.
Right.
Here we get back again to the Kabbalah. and all of the tarot cards are based on those.
And this is how you can decipher a lot of the corporate logos, through the tarot.
You know, that's true. There are many artists have done different variations, but they're all the same. You have the Joker, you have the Magician,
right?
The Goddess, really. Yeah, that's very fascinating.
Keep rolling. Yeah, this was Venus with the pentagram, and our goddess Columbia with the eye. Now, what I found interesting as I started to think about it, Jack Blood had asked me, well, what is it with the eye? He's like, we got this cult of the all-seeing eye. What's the eye symbolize? Well, I didn't have an answer right away. So, of course, I had to go digging. I was like, wait a minute, now I got to be able to answer that question. Well, ayin, going back to Hebrew letters, ayin, the Hebrew letter ayin, means eye. Mm-hmm. But in the tarot card, go to the next shot, the eye, ayin, means devil.
Wow.
That is the Hebrew letter I, the Hebrew letter ayin. So the I is the devil.
Yeah, that would make sense. God himself, in the Old Testament, Moses asked him his name. He said, my name is I am.
Right.
I am that I am. And so the devil, wishing to take upon himself, being a pretender, the stature of God, then would try to steal the eye. And since it says, the eye is on the sparrow, God's eye, he would say, well, I am the all-seeing eye, not God.
Right.
I am the all-knowing, omniscient God myself. And, what a devilish lie that would be.
Yes. Yes. Right, so here we got to the trusted choice and the whole idea of these guys being reverent. Go ahead and
now look at that, though, for a moment.
Right,
you have our mighty president, and this sign is behind him. And, that must be some corporate logo or whatever. I don't know what it is.
Right, I don't know what it is either.
But what company it is, the trusted choice, there's a little R behind it, meaning it's a registered trademark.
Right.
But you see how the whoever filmed this, and it was just probably on television or whatever, or probably magazines and newspapers had this picture. The subtle idea is planted in people's mind.
Yes.
Here we have people being programmed. He's the trusted choice.
Yes.
You can
have faith in W.
Recently, in one of the major magazines, was a picture of Bush, and right behind him was a huge mural of Jesus.
Yes, I think that's coming up.
Okay.
Let's keep rolling with these, because, well, I managed to take this one downtown.
Okay.
That's our favorite little bass player downtown, but I thought it funny because...
He has a crown on his head.
He has a crown.
Yeah, you can stage these things. See, now
you can.
You've shown exactly.
I did that, yeah. So here's Bush with the crown.
Given a little hand sign of the unholy trinity, perhaps.
Right.
And then we have, he's a crown. He's a godlike man from the Olympia.
No, yeah.
I mean, he's...
Yeah, keep going. And the Pope with horns? Now, that one I think was just a lucky shot.
Yeah, well, it could be, yeah.
Maybe somebody saw it.
After they take the shots, though,
That's
remember,
true.
In these magazines, they have art committees,
right.
Photographic committees. They choose photos, especially on the covers of magazines. A whole committee sits and says, what are we going to have this week for the cover of our magazine? So even though this was a lucky shot, perhaps, it was chosen for inclusion. A little sign there.
Right. Very good point. So this was just a representation of the halo, and now go to the next shot. And, well...
there we have the God-man with a halo, the sun halo, the sun god of America.
Yes.
Looking very somber and very... like a deity.
Now, he just is right now trying to pass a bill saying that Wicca is not an acceptable religion in the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just now, actually the pastors in the military, I meant to bring this article with me, but the pastors in the military actually have a code in their books saying, well, yeah, they can practice their Wicca.
Their handbook. Mm-hmm.
And they'll sit over and watch it, but now George Bush is saying, well, I don't think Wicca is really a form of religion and can't be allowed in the military.
Well, that must, I think this is something, a little bone he would throw to his fundamentalist Christian I'm a Christian, of course, but this is a little bone they throw to the fundamentalist Christians, and then they go, "Wow, this guy is for us. He's one of us."
Right.
And it makes his constituency happy.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
That's it. But the fact that he is into witchcraft himself, and a member of the Order in Skull and Bones makes a mockery that he really would oppose witchcraft. That's just plain simple.
Yeah, I mean, he does witchcraft. Go ahead and keep rolling with that. They absolutely practice witchcraft. Open ritual, doing it right there at the temple in the tomb, as we were talking about last time we were together. Doing these rituals where they recount their sexual acts, and they're absolutely practicing magic.
Now, I don't think that's George.
Is that not George?
I haven't seen a photo exactly like that recently.
He looks awful like it. Go to the next shot.
Although Time Magazine had Clinton.
I think that's the same guy.
Oh, yes. Okay, we say...
I think that was the same guy.
Now, some people would say that's the UT symbol. But, of course, that's an impossibility because of the thumb sticking out. That's not UT. It's not University of Texas Longhorn symbol at all.
Not to mention all the ones we went through last time showing many of these people are not UT people at all.
No. There's our gal.
Yeah, giving the old...
And by the way, some of the surfers use this sort of a hang... They call this the hang loose thing.
Hang loose,
but it can also be used as a satanic. There's a lot of confusion in this area.
Yes.
Over that symbol, the El Diablo, or the horn god Satan.
Now, here are just some humorous shots I found. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here.
We don't know. That's a terrible shot.
I think that's a skull and bones ritual being enacted in front of us.
Isn't it interesting they would put this in a magazine?
Yeah.
Or what are they telling us? It's disgusting in a way, but what are they trying to tell us?
I don't know.
There. And yet there are many rumors out about George W. Bush being bisexual. To be very frank with you.
I wouldn't be surprised about that either. Most of them
And they gave press credentials to a guy who turned out to be, was not qualified at all. It takes 20 years to become a member of the Washington Press Corps and get in the official briefings of the White House spokesman, but a gay man who was... had a website called hotstuds.com,
really?
And it had him totally naked doing sexual things, inviting people to call his phone number there in Washington, D.C. for a good time. They gave him, Karl Rove, and President Bush gave him credentials to get into the press room, and he became a member of the press corps, even though he was not even a newsman, but pretended to be a representative of Talon.com. And then there's actually pictures of he and Bush kissing, or I should say hugging, and Bush kissing him on the forehead.
Right.
I think that's very odd.
Yeah.
For him to be kissing the owner of hotstuds.com on the forehead, and I have that picture in my collection.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I grew up in Orlando, and I know for a fact that 95 to 98% of employees within Disney World are all homosexual.
And that's why probably they promote the homosexual characters now. They're beginning to.
Yes, they do.
Even in The Lion King,
they
said a couple of the characters were gays.
Bush fell off his bike there.
Got a little blooded. You sure Laura didn't take care of him on occasion?
Sometimes I wonder if he's just shape-shifting. This guy, I mean, come on. What are we to say about this man that's been railroaded into the presidency? You know, I knew he was going to be forced into the presidency because his nickname was W, and I already had deciphered the meaning of W. And so from that, I said, well, W is going to be president no matter what, and it would be even better if they forced him into office, because what they're doing is killing our reasons to fight. They discredited Bill Clinton with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, even bringing up the cigar, which they would have never done any time prior. But we were supposed to lose faith in the man, the president. We weren't supposed to have any faith in our president. That's why they put him in there.
I see what you mean. So they degraded the office of the presidency.
And then
railroading. Bill Clinton had to be part of that.
Yes.
Because he himself, it's interesting, at the very height of the Monica Lewinsky, and now we do know, by the way, even Netanyahu and Falwell has come out that they sort of plotted the Lewinsky thing. She was a Israeli Mossad operative.
Really?
And they plotted this out.
Well, they knew he was a coke-snorting womanizer. I mean,
and they put her in the White House and gave her a thong and said, let the president see. Work late and let the president see it. I have a picture of her and her mother visiting Jerusalem and giving Masonic their signs that you can see. Yeah, so they had even practiced these things. I don't know, to go over there and get favor from their gods, the Kabbalistic gods.
Right.
Lewinsky, of course, is Jewish. Did you know that they called her in the press, the Jewish press, called her another Esther?
Really?
Yeah. Clinton evidently was not giving Israel everything that they wanted. And he and Netanyahu had a lot of arguments over this. And so they decided to disgrace him.
Well, that brings up a question for me. Now, let's move to today. And we've got this whole Israel connection, and we see it constantly, blatantly in front of us. And what's going on right now in the world with Iran and the Israel. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that America is going to back Israel, as we always do, and that the Soviet Union will back Iran. I'm really concerned that this might become World War III.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Russia is very much in the camp of the elite Illuminati, and Putin. He really doesn't have much place to turn, much room to maneuver in, because Russia is owned today by the Jewish oligarchs. Mm-hmm. And they fight amongst each other, but they own all of the oil, all of the natural resources, all of the industry and corporate structure of Russia. Yeah. It was all turned over to them by the communists. Yeltsin was himself secretly Jewish. And it's interesting, Zhirinovsky, the guy that came out and was going to run for president, the Russian politician, turns out that he's Jewish too. But he's the guy that railed against the Jews.
Right.
So you see, they have both sides, and they bring in the Hegelian dialectic.
This is why they have the two towers, the two columns, the black and white checkered floor. All of these are symbols, even the double-headed eagle.
Now, Putin, at a press conference, he was criticized by some of the members of the Western press. He said, if you don't like the way I run the presidency here in Russia, we'll just give you a circumcision and send you home. That was Putin's statement. We'll give you a circumcision. How much more Jewish could a statement be?
Right.
I've never had anybody threaten me with a circumcision.
Right.
That's an incredible statement. Maybe he was railing against some Gentile newsmen. I don't know what he was saying, but I have that statement in that press release in my files. So, but they create the illusion of differences.
Right. That was.
But I don't think at all that there's a problem there. Well, what happened in Iraq? Russia said, "Oh no, don't go in there. You know, Saddam Hussein is our client, our friend. We went in anyway." And what did Russia do? Nothing.
Right.
We went in Afghanistan. So I think that the Russians are pretty putrid right now. They don't have the capability. They are controlled by the same Jewish elite.
Right. Well, I expect Third World War to be set up. I got this little quote here from...
Well, I believe that. I believe it could be a religious war, though, and it's already begun, perhaps, with Iraq and Afghanistan, the Muslims. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. This was just a little something that Albert Pike had said, that he wanted to foment the Third World War by... between the Zionists and the Arabs. And then he says, the conflict, World War III, was planned to spread worldwide. The Illuminati, said the letter, which was written back in 1871, planned to unleash the nihilist and the atheists and provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly the turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world delusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Now, this was his statement on World War III back in 1871.
All right, so he said we're going to have 3 world wars in succession. Right. The last one, said Pike. Now remember, he's the greatest man of all secret societies. Right. The former sovereign Grand Commander of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. He designed their 33 rituals, right, for example. And we have already shown his classic textbook. His tomb is literally in Washington, D.C., at the international headquarters in that building.
Yes. She told me it was haunted.
Yeah, the House of the Temple. Yeah, we discussed that the last time we met. Now, the third war, as you read, they said, would culminate. It would be a religious war. Mm. Even though they would unleash the nihilist and the atheist, it would be a religious war. Now, what do we have gathering steam now? We have the Arabs, the Muslims world, and George Bush has infuriated them. Right. Insulted them. And all of these photos coming out about Abu Ghraib and all of those things are to infuriate, to drive them, these cartoons and everything. And we're killing these people indiscriminately over there, murdering them. We're putting them in places like concentration camps without any pretext at all, no trials. We're worse than or bad as Hitler in setting up gulags across the world. Now, the Muslims are infuriated. Who do they hate? They hate the Jews. But wait, they hate the Christians. Why? Because Bush says, I'm a Christian, and God has told me to go over and kill you people. Right. Now, at the same time then, the Christian right wing is led by Falwell, Dobson, Robertson, and all of them are saying, go over and kill the Arabs. Yeah. Mohammed was nothing but a pedophile monster, and now let's go kill all the Arabs. And I actually have a Baptist, one of the top Baptists who's written many books. I got his newsletter, and guess what the man said? He said, I think it would be good for all the Palestinian youth to just volunteer to take a bullet in the head and lay down and die. This is that's an evangelist? An evangelist of the Baptist faith saying these things. Oh my God. His name is Dr. Samuel Gipp. And I think I'm pretty close to what he said, but I'll be glad to quote it exactly. But basically said that he had seen a Palestinian youth take a shot in the head. He said, that's good. I said, lay down, boy, and die. Good, that's good. Now, see, this is monstrous. This is not what Jesus would do. No. I don't think Jesus ever called for shooting anybody in the head or spearing them or anything else. He said, turn the other cheek. Right. These people are false Christians. They are satanic monsters pretending to be evangelists and pastors. But guess what? They are telling Bush the Jews are God's chosen. God wants them to have the land. Drive the Palestinians off of it. Take their land, take their businesses, take their orchards. What does it matter? God wants this. And Bush says, I'm doing this for God. Right. And now we have the Christians who will all be hated because their leader, Bush, and their evangelical leaders all say, go kill the Arabs, Muslims, take the land for the Jews. The Jews are God's chosen people. Right. They're like God's on earth. Let's put them on the pedestal. They can't do any wrong. Now many in the Christian religion, the right-wing Christians, are actually saying the Jews don't even need Jesus. Right. They're abandoning Christianity, favoring. In fact, I've seen people like John Hagee, Cornerstone Church in San Antonio. He actually says that the chief mission of Christians today is to make sure that Israel keeps their land. I thought it was to save souls. I thought it was to reach people. I thought it was to go help the downtrodden, the poor, and poverty. I thought it was to do the works of Jesus. But these people come forth and saying, I'm preaching here. Hey, great job, but you know what they say? Our mission is to make Israel a superpower. Our mission is to give them billions of dollars every year in support. Our mission is to make sure the Muslims don't get the bomb, even though Israel has 400 nuclear weapons as a minimum. Right. If they're, all produced in their own Dimona plant. And by the way, they were given the plans for the atomic bomb, just like the Russians were, by Jewish spies here in the United States. Right. So we've given the atomic bomb, nuclear weapons, to Israel. How would you feel if you were Iranian, you were Syrian, you were a Muslim sitting over in Libya, knowing that people who hate you, who say they're superior to you racially, sitting in Israel, have 400 nuclear bombs, and they have aircraft that can deliver the bombs, and they have nuclear submarines that can shoot missiles with bombs and kill you instantly. And I have a quote from a Hebrew professor at Hebrew University, I should say, Jewish, who says, if the Europeans don't do what we say, we'll nuke them too. We can topple the capitals of Europe with our nuclear bombs. If I were the prime minister of Iran, you know what I'd want to do? Develop a nuclear bomb. Right. He has said over and over, this prime minister of Iran, I'm not trying to favor the guy. They're trying to make him look like another Hitler. Right. But what has he said? Israel has the bomb. Yeah. We are threatened. What are we going to do? And he has actually said, we will not produce a bomb, a Muslim bomb, if the Jews will give up all of their hundreds of bombs. And everybody says, oh, how terrible you are.
How can you ask that?
Why, how can you ask such a thing? You horrible racist demagogue to make Israel give up their bombs. Yeah. You know, it's not enough that America and Russia between us have 50,000 bombs and favor the Jews. I don't think Israel has a problem of being run over when they have the entire United States military as their proxy.
Right.
And Bush saying one of our priorities is to be right there and save their bacon in Israel. I just think it's amazing that the American press, nobody mentions the fact that we should get rid of all the bombs. Am I a pacifist? Am I a left-winger? No, I'm not. Right. To be very honest with you, I don't vote Democrat. But you know what? I believe that.
Yeah.
If we want to say Iran, no bomb. Syria, no bomb. We should say Israel, no bomb.
Right.
Totally denuclearize. Why is it that people like Noah Chomsky and all of these people that claim they're against the New World Order, why don't they get in the streets and say, Israel, give up your bombs? And Iran, you two, don't build any bomb. I don't want Iran to build a bomb.
No.
But I want Israel to give up their bombs.
Right.
And, you know, it might not be a bad idea if the United States and the Soviet Union gave up theirs, too.
Right.
By the way.
I did a little research on the HARP project, which is the new missile defensive shield. Mm-hmm. And in us enabling that missile defensive shield, America has officially backed out of the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. Because we now have a force field, which is against, mutual destruction. So the HARP system, we'll have to get to that some other time.
Maybe another time. Yeah. We're on symbols and goddesses.
Yeah, I might have opened a can of worms there that didn't need to be open right now.
And Codex Magica, my new book.
Yeah, let's throw this out here. You guys, check this book out. It's getting rave reviews. People were talking to me about this in Tucson.
Oh, I'm glad.
I was just there for the Gem and Mineral Show, and people were awaiting their order anxiously, and I'm like, oh, well, you got to go download the show, You can download the Tex and I's last show on the internet. Just go to the freemanperspective.blogspot.com, which will be at the end of the show here, and you can download our last show where we covered the different hand signs and gestures that the Illuminati use right in front of us. I mean, we covered Jerry Seinfeld and Pat Robertson.
All giving secret signs. They're hidden codes, mysterious symbols. Yeah, this book has over 1,000 pictures. It's over 600 pages. And it's based on literally 2 decades of research, but particularly the last 5 years have been very concentrated. I think this is the book. If somebody, they don't have to read.
It's
explosive. Like 10 videos in one.
Right.
And it will show they are all giving these secret signs to each other. They're communicating on TV and radio. In many ways. By the way, I'm seeing on the screen here, boy, you've got some tremendous images. That must be from that's Denver's airport.
Exactly right. Wow. I stopped by there and decided to film that real quick.
Wow.
It's amazing work. Obviously.
Did you notice on little pedestals high up in the ceiling? There would be little devil.
The little devil,
statuettes. Yeah. You're just walking down there, and way up there, there's a 60 feet up, there's a little, maybe not that much, but there's a little pedestal.
Yeah.
And there's a little devil god up there. Yeah. Overlooking you.
I got a picture of one, but
the new airport.
Probably won't make it to that. There was one sitting in the luggage area in the airport, and it's sitting in a suitcase. It's a little devil sitting there in the suitcase.
Yes, I remember that.
I couldn't believe it.
It tells you a little bit about who put that together. And there are many rumors, that it goes down the basement levels. There are many levels like 16 floors underground.
Right.
And some strange things go on there. Satanic rituals, human sacrifices. I haven't been able to verify those, but from the looks of some of the things you've been seeing on the screen here, some of the murals, and we mentioned the statues, it's an incredible place.
It is all about death and devastation. And rumor has it that in the new world, when we've got this new world order, if this actually occurs, I'm hoping that it won't, but that Denver will be the western capital of America, and Atlanta will be the eastern capital.
I can believe that. They have what they call ley lines, and they believe the Earth emanates. There's a grid, and power forces come up.
Right.
From the underworld, and there's energy forces unleashed. And Denver is considered to be one of those areas. I believe that's why Pope John Paul II visited World Youth Day in Denver and Colorado Springs. He first came from the Vatican and visited the Mayan death sites, the pyramids down in Mexico. And then he flew from there right to Denver. What a connection.
Yeah.
What a connection. Human sacrifice there and then to Denver.
Wow. I believe in these power lines myself from a simple reason that when I travel, I find that people that just, I travel without any compass. I just go and I let the great Lord take me wherever I end up, right? And I always end up, and most of us travelers end up in the same town that are heavily Masonic. We get there just by circumstance, by, following the energy that's leading us, and they put their temples there on purpose to the perfect east, west, north, south directionals.
Well, it would be an interesting thing because, frankly, the devil is an intelligent being. The Bible itself talks about he had great beauty, he had great intelligence. One of the leaders in heaven, he was chosen for his intelligence, his cunning, and really that's why the whole system of the Illuminati and the secret societies is based on gnosis or knowledge.
Right.
And I can say, many of the great inventors throughout the decades and centuries have been occultists.
Yeah.
Theosophists. And I believe that demons give them certain intelligences and give them ideas.
Speaking of that,
so I can understand that if the concept of the ley lines is real, it might be something that we don't know, but yet Lucifer has known it for hundreds and hundreds of years.
I was going to show off my video because I actually have a portion on that.
You have it there? Yeah.
I don't have my video here. I left them in the other room, I guess. Well, you guys definitely, I've got a 3-hour-long video, and just get in touch with me at blueflyfree@gmail.com. And I'll hook you up with the video. It's 3 hours. It's the first 6 episodes of the Freeman Perspective. It goes into corporate logos, the occultic meanings, and all of that good stuff.
Now, what is your web site, the address again?
It's thefreemanperspective.blogspot.com.
Okay.
I'm working on getting one that's just like freeman.com,
Well, we're gonna link you if it's okay with you. We'd like to link you on powerprophecy.com.
Absolutely. So you're linked on mine.
And just look for the links. And if you're not, you will be there tomorrow.
All right.
I'll have our webmaster put you on there. And so they go to Power Prophecy, go to links, and then go right to yours.
And if you come to mine, then you can look, and there's Power Prophecy linked to mine already.
I appreciate that, but you just go right to the links and go right to yours too.
Absolutely.
We'll put you on there. So you'll see the Freeman Perspective and the rest of it there.
Because there are very few people like us. There are very few people that I've come across that are uncovering this level of the ritual that's going on. People, they believe in the whole, there's a secret society conspiracy occurring, and these men give themselves secret handshakes so that they know one another and then they can help one another. Now, all of this is true, but there's the whole other level, the biblical level, the ritual, magical level that they're performing that most people just, the atheist and the nihilist, they have no concept that this is even something that's a possibility.
That's right. They don't believe in a magical world. They don't believe in demons. They don't believe in angels even.
Right.
But it's everywhere. It's wrapped around us. The whole world is based on this. And it only makes sense. That's the way the world is made. But it does defy people's comfort zones.
Yes.
They're frightened to believe in these things. And many of them have looked at this program today and said, I can't believe this. This can't be true.
Right.
But they need to see your earlier video. They need to see my book, Codex Magica.
Yes.
And over 1,000 pictures. And, of course, there are many explanations and captions and such.
Not to mention the actual handbooks of the Freemasons and other groups themselves.
Oh, yeah. I've proved it by showing the secret society's own handbooks, textbooks,
yes,
encyclopedias, and so forth. Once they see this, their lives, everybody's lives will be changed. Maybe we've begun a change in people's lives on this program.
I think we have.
Freeman.
I think we have.
And there's some people out there that already know these things.
Yes.
And I praise the Lord for them. And they're going to make change happen.
Well, let's carry on, Tex.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Freeman.
Another fast hour.
Well, thank you for having the Freeman perspective here on Austin Cable Access. And I hope it'll spread across the country.
Hey, that would be great. That would be great. You know, actually, I started broadcasting this on the internet early on, and I got a fan base in Norway. Well, that's the end of it.